Thing you do, teachers.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Wake up. 3 minutes past the top of the wire. Top of the wire. The top of the, yeah, we on the top of the hour. There's the incomparable Dr. Ashanta White, OT, the early bird, Nyron on the box, man. Happy Thanksgiving, man. This is the season.
It is.
It really is. Doc, first of all, thank you, man. First thing you asked me was I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
I did, right? And I appreciate the love, the respect, and the intellectual challenges we have. It's a tough out. Today is my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mama.
Yeah, so she's no longer with us, but
Happy
she's
birthday,
with us.
Mama. Yeah, absolutely. You carry her everywhere. That's how I feel about my grandmother.
Yeah, and I really do, right? And for everybody who knows, man, we've talked. It's been a tough year.
Yeah.
Because this is the first year that I've had without a parent.
Mm-hmm.
When you have one of them, right?
Yeah.
It kind of buffers, right?
Yes.
And so this is, I didn't have any idea what it would be like. So for those folk out there experiencing Thanksgiving, right? Let me say this to you. And my sister has been so tremendous, man. And my sister's kind of like you. You would have to know. You would have to know. A big brain challenges me.
Yeah. As she should.
Yeah, she'll call me and she'll say,
those kind of people help grow you.
she'll say,
you know what I mean?
She said, I couldn't be sitting up there like you. She said,
Better set it off, huh?
And so my sister's been so tremendous, guys, making sure that, and usually she's the one, as sensitive as I am, my sister is big and bold and smart as she is. She can be a pushover. Most people don't know that about her, right? Mm-hmm. And she cared for my mom. So she took on that burden for mom to move in with her, especially when I moved out of the house with my mom. So she has done everything she can. And she made a commitment to me after my mom died. She said, you know what? Grieving can be tough for me, but we're going to celebrate this one.
Yeah.
We're going to celebrate this one. And because, it's just her and I left from our immediate family.
Oh, wow.
So when you look at your family dwindling, of the 7 people, there's only two of us. And she said, we're going to celebrate this. And she has been my rock. Nettie, if you're out there listening, Nettie Roby, Minette Roby, she has been my rock to get through this. So today, happy birthday, Mama. I can say
happy birthday, Mama.
Without tears
absolutely.
or a smile.
Mm-hmm. Because when you think about it, it hurt me to lose my grandmother because I knew the essence of family was going to die with her. Because she was always like the nexus, right? Everybody comes to where she is, and that's how the family gathers. But now that she's gone, there's really no real intent, excuse me, to gather family. So we're trying to do it. We're supposed to be in Houston for Thanksgiving, and guess what? I get to eat my Auntie Val food, so that's a good draw. I might have to bring you a plate.
That's a good thing. And so you're going to be going to Houston?
Yeah, Houston. That's the plan. We typically go to Dallas because that's where my grandmother and Val and Linnell, that's where they moved post Katrina. But Val's daughter, Jaleisha, she's the new nurse. She's the new nurse of the family. Right. She wants to host Thanksgiving at her place, which is in Houston. So I think everybody's going to go to Houston, which is closer for everybody. Instead of going 8 hours, you go 5, So that's the plan.
And so I'm looking forward to holiday season. Yesterday, I had a chance to revisit. I'm past King of the Buck Jumpers, right? So
yeah,
I rolled with them.
Mm-hmm.
Me and one of my little nephews,
My cousin Willie was in a
We
Minbug
went
jumper.
out there, man. We saw to see Linda and everybody, and
They look so good too.
They were
Dressed in all
and that's
white,
my
looking
favorite color, blue.
godly. Yeah, they look so
They
good.
really did. And then the kids were awesome. It was
Yes.
a beautiful day.
Crime free
Man,
all around the area. Mm-hmm.
you know what's crazy? And you were talking, I was talking about earlier, right?
Mhm.
People be acting like, man, every second line it's not, man. We had thousands over hundreds of years, right?
Yep.
And rarely has it been. Rarely.
Yeah.
It's a peaceful
So
time.
statistically, this shouldn't even be a conversation. If we talking stats and numbers, it shouldn't even be a conversation. It's an outlier. So that's what it is.
My friend Big Harold, Big Doom, Big call him Big Doom. Big Doom was the center on our basketball team. Him and I had a conversation a couple years ago after the press went wild about a Mardi Gras shooting, our shooting at a carnival parade.
Yeah.
And so I talked to him. He loves coming to New Orleans,
Mhm.
right? Him and I, they love coming here. He's been to Mardi Gras, any event, right? So he called me, Dr. White. He's like, man, y'all tripping over, and over, a couple people got shot at a parade. He said, Lord, if we had that many people gather here any day.
But here's the other thing that people continue to gloss over is this idea that the NOPD's specialty is crowd control. Like that's one of the pillars that we lay our head on as the New Orleans Police Department.
Correct.
So how is it that that's one of the things we specialize in, but it's almost like you're acting as if crowd control or handling large gatherings is somehow new to us. This is what we do.
Man, thank you so much. I said that at a meeting. I said, hold on a second.
Yeah,
right?
this is what we do. People come
we
here to
train
study how.
people
Yes.
on logistics for crowd
So
control.
what are we
from the
talking
Rose
about?
Bowl
That's it.
To
what
Mardi
we
Gras,
do.
the Super Bowl. The NOPD officers that train people.
But I'm going to go back to what I said one day on the show when I said there's a danger or a hidden message in allowing certain businesses to close during black events, what are considered black events, because you're perpetrating this narrative that when black folk gather in large numbers, that it is somehow unsafe or untawdry or some negative things are going on. But we allow those businesses to do that, and then we allow that message to be perpetuated. We cannot do that.
Oh, that is so powerful, so profound.
We can't do it.
And we buy into
Yes.
it. Let's stop it. If our friends who are not African American who are listening, the narrative is not true.
It's not.
It's not. So
even the narrative that black folk don't tip. First of all, if you make wages livable, you wouldn't have to be relying on poor people to tip you into a living wage.
We're consumer nation.
Start there first. But secondly, don't pretend that every black person or all black people, I don't understand why it's okay for people to create this narrative around us like we're a monolith, but then you could go in other demographics of people and pick out the good in the group. But for us, it's like we allow folk. Some of those businesses are the most overly maintenance businesses in the city. They're always under maintenance during events that cater specifically to a more melanated crowd. Mm-hmm. And our city allows it. Why? Because to me, that sends a message that we're okay with them perpetrating the lie. Right. That either it's not safe to serve black folk or it's not profitable. To serve black folk. And when the tourists are not here, the black folk is who keep your business afloat. Let's just be honest here. Let's just be real. But we too have to figure out how to make our dollars respected.
Why every time you say something profound, that little gnat start flying around?
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you something.
Little gnat start flying. It's government gnat.
Yeah, but the moment we try to honor our green money in black communities, we get initiatives, federal initiatives that black folk can't give money to black folk. It can't be just black.
So, Doc,
something's wrong there.
I want you to slow down and listen to this, right? Because you just, you know how
I be getting hot.
I be picking up when you say stuff, right? So 504-582-9422. If this is the season to be Thanksgiving, right? Why do we buy into these false narratives, right? Can we get over it? Can we stop the stereotyping and the branding? Now, you said something extremely important, young lady. And for our listening audience, guys, this is quite profound and important. It is the African American community that carries our economy during the off season.
Full stop. Full stop.
during the off season.
So if they don't respect your green money during Essence, don't give it to them when Essence leave. If they don't respect your green money during Bayou Classic,
Second Line Culture,
absolutely don't give them
Bayou
your
Classic,
money. We float this
Social and
entire
Pleasure
city.
Club,
Like, stop it.
Zulu's events,
Absolutely.
every week from
Every
now on,
single time.
every week,
Every single time.
every weekend heading until Carnival season.
Full stop. So but again, our city allows it. There's no way you can tell me that you can't see the forest for the trees when folk are closing their doors
Jeff
every
Thomas,
single time.
if you're listening, we thank 504. First of all, thank you for a great article about the importance of the culture. It ties in with what we're doing here. I tell folks, God doesn't make any mistakes with our conversations. It is the African American community and the culture community that carries our economy
Yes.
during what they call the off season.
Full stop.
That is absolutely correct.
Full stop. Because y'all don't have a problem when they're tapping y'all to be grand marshals.
That is absolutely
You don't have
correct.
a problem when you're reigning as kings and queens in our culture, but then
Absolutely
somehow
correct.
you get in certain rooms and in certain platforms and you're trying to talk
So-
down on the culture itself, and that's a problem.
So I'm going to say this like our homeboy said.
Mm-hmm.
Put some spec on us.
Big respect.
Put some spec.
That's it. I mean,
put
and
some
it's
spec on
it's
it.
not
Tell the
hard,
truth.
but we have to stop allowing people. First of all, y'all allow everybody to the cookout. If they could, just say a little,
Right.
a little AAV. They did the
Right.
VE.
Right.
They invited to the cookout.
Right.
You invite everybody to the
Doc,
cookout.
Doc, slow down.
I'm sorry.
Because you're on, for the listening
I
audience
just hate
out,
the fact that I missed your meeting. I wanted to be in the room.
for the listening audience out there, this is extremely important. No economist has laid it out like this. No elected official that I've worked with. I see it and I hear it now. She's right. No academic has no one from the tourist community. If it wasn't for our dollars, the summer, the end of summer, the early fall, up until the first of the year when the big festival and event season happens, we would be short hundreds of millions of dollars.
Easily.
Jeff Thomas, I hope you're listening. I need you to put your head in your hat on this piece because Dr. White is absolutely correct.
And we have to stop it. We have to stop allowing folk
We got
to
stop
perpetuate
buying into
false
it.
narratives around our people and our community.
504-582-9422. How do you feel when you find out that you're really more valuable than they try to make you feel?
Big value.
Huh?
And not the great value brand either, the real thing.
Line number one. Miss Jones. Hey, Miss Jones.
Yes.
And before you say
Good morning,
anything,
everybody.
before you, Miss Jones, Miss Jones. Look,
yes.
before
I've
you
been
say
saying it.
anything, no, listen to me a second because Dr. White just set the table for what you said you've been saying for over a decade now, that it is our money. If we really wanted to show this community how important we are, we would keep our money in our pockets. You've been saying that. Now, go ahead, Miss Jones.
Exactly. And it became even more when that young man was smothered to death in that French Quarter restaurant. He didn't do anything.
Yeah,
He
Razoo.
didn't do anything. And, our people should have shut down then. And when tourists come, just tell them don't go. But we should have been doing it a long time. And our money is not good. Our tourist money is not good during Bayou Classic, Essence Festival. They'll keep it all year round. And I'll say the same thing for this thing you call Black Friday. In bookkeeping, with computers, I don't have it probably. Black meant that the business did good. If it came out red, did bad.
Yeah.
So Black Friday is probably for the businesses, and after the holidays, the citizens are in the red. That means that, you at a little loss. You spend all your money then, and, this is the way they're going to do. There's the way of skinning the cat, and we did it, boycotting it.
Well, you're absolutely right. I think what Dr. White did was she put some reality to it. And so when you look at the season, right, especially given in the midst of this whole conversation about the cultural economy and the cultural community, cultural economy is no more evident, no more prominent than from Essence to the end of the year.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And how many months is that? July,
Count 'em.
August, September. Wait.
Count them.
That's half the year.
Count them.
Half of the
Okay.
year.
Doc, you made me count the months.
Come on. I'm trying to tell you. We the anchor. Ain't no boat without us. We anchor this city.
You cannot get through
We anchor this
this
city.
time without.
That's it. You don't need to have a budget meeting if you have no black dollars
Well-
circulating in this black city.
Well, hey, we got to call it. Well, Miss Jones, love you, thank you. So look, you got to send Dr. Wyatt her dressing because she just made your decade argument right. Love you, Miss Jones. Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Because see, we don't get the benefit of thinking about it, right? Because we're going about business as usual.
Let's get Don.
But think about it.
And Don is a big brain intellectual. I wonder I wonder if Don thought about it like that. Don, did you think about the fact that how businesses close and that they discount the black dollar, but from Essence to the end of the year, it's actually the black dollar that helps sustain this community. Don, Big Don, you're on with Dr. Wyatt and OT.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Don, happy Thanksgiving week too to you, man.
Very well, and the same to you, as well as you, Dr. Wyatt. What is there inventory? Is there data that aligns all of the black-owned businesses in New Orleans? I mean,
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure someone has that information, but as it relates to our conversation about this season, right? I don't know, and that's why I called out Jeff Thomas of Black Source Media and Think 504. It would be great, and I'm gonna ask the data center put that 6-month information together, right? And about the impact, especially of the cultural economy and African American events like Essence and Bayou Classic.
Especially why it's under attack, right?
Yeah,
you have to show its value.
Especially why.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
Yeah. I it's always I have some weird. Well, I'm not gonna say. I have my own theory about economics anyway.
Don, you got your own theory about a lot of things.
Yeah. For instance, 2,080 hours. 2,080 hours is considered full time by the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you work 2,080 hours, you're considered a full time employee. But that's only if you equate that to a 24-hour day, which we live in a global economy, 24-hour economy based on the Asian markets in Hong Kong and the European markets in London and the Wall Street. Based on those three markets, and the timing, Japan is 14 hours ahead of Central Time Zone. So, but be quick with it. 2,080 hours is equivalent to about 87 days. So the average full-time employee works about 87 days out of the year. 24-hour days, I'm talking about, out of 365. So it's 278 days. So it's always amazing when we talk about economics, how a person working 87 days can pay their bills for the whole year. So we're always in a deficit. So our dollars are even more valuable than we realize based on face value. As you mentioned, the cultural value, the exchange of cultural ideas and the exchange of the issue of what the dollar represents. That's why so many people are passionate about the dollar with armed robberies and jackings, because what the currency represents, not just monetarily, but emotionally and culturally. I'm the man that's got the money. So when we look at restaurants and businesses closing during that period, they don't. The issue is economically, but it's also culturally and all the other emotion that goes along with it, because you're putting a demand on service. When you exchange currency, you're placing a demand on that recipient or that business. And many don't want to meet the demand because they say the demand of a certain group may be too high for us to want to render that service. So we look at the emotional and even the political aspect of currency and exchange of mediums more than just the face value. It may say $100 on it, have Ben Franklin on it, but what does it really represent as far as the interaction of a community with a community that may not respect your ability and your level of demand for that $100. We can put some demands on it now. I want more. I want the hookup. You heard? I ain't talking about just a certain group of people. I'm talking about anybody. Everybody wants deals. And so what are you willing to espouse for that deal? So anyway, that's my small take on it.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Oh, wow. We got to go to break, right, guys? We got, as always, this wonderful Monday, right? But, yeah, when the season for Thanksgiving, right? Blessings and grace. Be thankful that the cultural economy, be thankful that our community is able to be the economic life source in this town.
Yes.
So for the next several months, right? We're it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been it.
Yeah.
Gonna be it.
Been here and gonna be it. Chelsea Moore, Director of Specialty Practices for Thrive Kids, Children's Hospital, man, the NOLA Public Schools Partnership, right? $30 million in funding over 10 years to deal with these mental health and aspects around our kids. We'll talk to Chelsea Moore about that and a whole lot more on WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Whose station?
Our station.
Yes, it is our station. We'll be back
Indeed.
after the break.
Hey, this is D. Riley from the 90s Hits R&B Jams. Make sure you listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday night from 7 until 9 p.m. I'll be giving you the best R&B jams from the 90s. That's right, all your favorites and more. With me, D. Riley, your host of the 90s Hits, right here on WBOK 1230 AM, or listen online at WBOK1230.com. WBOK, the station you listen to longer.
I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. A woman is recovering this morning after being shot downtown. This happened earlier this morning around 1 a.m. on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard and Calliope Street. Police say the woman was shot in the buttocks. She was taken to the hospital. No further information has been given at this time. A week after the deadly mass shooting at the 9-Time Second Line, one group takes to the streets of New Orleans. The lady and men bug jumpers held a second line on Sunday. NOPD still needs your help identifying those responsible in the tragic mass shooting in the St. Roch area. The reward has now gone up to $10,000. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. You know the number, 504-822-1111. New Orleans Saints legend Steve Gleason is resting after what he calls a traumatic accident on Saturday. Gleason's wife, Michelle, posted about it on social media, saying Steve had an accident exiting his van on Saturday. Gleason played for the Saints for 8 years, producing one of the greatest moments in franchise history when he blocked a punt against the Atlanta Falcons the night the Superdome reopened following Hurricane Katrina. And good news for travelers hitting the road. Gas prices are lower this Thanksgiving compared to last year. The national average price for regular gas now sits at $3.06 per gallon. Louisiana stands at $2.72 a gallon. In Orleans Parish, the average price to fill your tank is $2.73. And JP and on the North Shore, it's about $2.74. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Sunday mornings are reserved for a good word on WBOK. This Sunday, be sure to catch Dr. Kevin Stevens Sr., the pastor of Christian Unity Church, for service and a powerful, full, inspiring word. Listen live every Sunday morning right here on WBOK.
Join Inspire NOLA Charter Schools, Freddie King, Hancock Whitney, Six War Steppers, and more for 2 NOLA Love Drive-Thru Turkey and Ham giveaways. On Tuesday, November 26th, the first giveaway begins at 9 a.m. in Algiers at Alice Hart Charter School. And the second giveaway begins at 2 p.m. in historic Treme at the Mahalia Jackson Theater. Receive a free turkey or ham and food items while supplies last. We'll see you there. Learn more at InspireNOLASchools.org.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Y'all see OT to the left of me holding it all down, and Naira, our super producer, is also behind the glass. But in studio right now, we are talking to Chelsea Moore, Director of Specialties Practices for Thrive Kids, and there's some big news that we want to discuss this morning. How you doing, Chelsea?
I'm doing amazing.
I would too if I was. If I secured the bag, I would be too. Tell us about Children's Hospital's Thrive Kids program partnership with NOLA Public Schools and this commitment of $30 million in funding from the city of New Orleans over the next 10 years.
Yeah, so it is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
You know, this is our second year in NOLA Public Schools. We had an initial commitment from the city to fund it for 3 years. And this now will allow us to go beyond that, and now we'll be in schools providing additional mental health support and health support to kids for the next 10 years.
So does that initiative align with you guys' mission?
100%. You know, our goal is really to increase access to services. We know that kids are having a hard time accessing services, right? They're seeing horrible things in their communities. They're experiencing things that are that no kid should have to experience. And then they go to school and they're not receiving the mental health support that they need to address those things. And even just the typical development things that kids go through, they need to be able to access those services, and we know that they're not. And so having a full-time therapist in school, they're able to access it during the school day, no burden to the parents, no money out of pocket for anybody. They're just able to get those services that they need.
So with this collaboration with NOLA Public Schools, does that give Thrive Kids the ability to be ingratiated in every school, or is it just specific schools?
So right now we're in 20 schools. It'll soon be 21 because we did secure some federal funds through a grant with OJJDP. So we got some money to help support kids exposed to violence. So that's going to help us add another school. So it'll be 21 schools. This funding will allow us to continue with that current level of staffing. So now our goal is to find funds to expand, and so that we can hit every single school in New Orleans.
So what separates you guys from other entities that work towards youth mental health? Like, what is the unique approach of Thrive Kids?
I think the differentiator is that we're backed by 600 pediatric specialists at Children's Hospital. So if we have a person that's at a school, say it's Carver, and we see, wow, this kid has a lot going on, they could really use a visit with a psychiatrist, maybe the neurologist, maybe they need an autism evaluation, maybe they can't see well and they need to see ophthalmology, right? It's a click, for us to get that appointment made. We're not just handing a mom a paper and saying, hey, here's some numbers you can call, Maybe they take Medicaid, maybe they'll have an appointment in 3 months. No, we're scheduling the appointment. We are providing the transportation to and from if needed. We're providing interpreters on scene if needed. We're making sure that there are no barriers to accessing that care.
See, what I like about Thrive Kids, from what I know about the organization, it's this idea of holistically taking care of children. You're not just talking the physical part, you're also addressing the mental health needs of our kids. And I believe every human being in this city is suffering from some sort of trauma. And so I think that's the approach we should have in terms of making certain that kids are holistically cared for. It's not if they suffer from trauma, it's just what kind of trauma are they suffering from, because we all are, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So can you discuss the significance of connecting students with health services before they reach a crisis point? How does this approach differ from traditional methods of handling mental health issues in schools?
So, and I'll give you an example just from my own career. Before I was with Thrive Kids, I worked in the emergency department. I was a social worker in the emergency department. And I would see so many families coming in with these kids that were at this absolute crisis, right? They don't have any idea where to turn next. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, wow, but why didn't we start this journey when they first started showing signs of this, right? When they were 3 or 4 or 6 or 7. Now they're 14, and we have we wasted all this time where we could have addressed things. So we don't want to wait until they get to the emergency room. We want to start early, right? And it could be just a kid who has trouble making friends, or expressing anger, and so if we're teaching them in 2nd grade how to express their feelings appropriately, how to have maybe a disagreement with a friend without it becoming what do they call it, a clash out or something?
Crash out, yes.
Crash out, that's it. And if they're learning that in 2nd grade, then maybe we can avoid some of that's going on.
Well, because that's where the big
school.
feelings come from, right? When you think about kids and them trying to regulate their emotions, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, that's where the big emotions start to manifest themselves, and you really just need to be able to know how to process those things, which takes me to a question from somebody in our listening audience. Do you guys cover the gambit when it comes, because I heard you mention autism, but do you cover the gambit when it comes to exceptionalities like ADHD?
Yeah, I mean, those commonly diagnosed childhood, mental health disorders, that's our, we can do ADHD, anxiety, depression, really transition, right? We have so many kids who are transitioning from one school to the next and having a hard time with that. Maybe their dad, has moved out of the house, and their mom, and they're getting divorced, and now mom has to work all day. That's a big adjustment for a kid, right? So that's adjustment disorder. So those types of things we 100% can handle. We have our own psychiatric care team. So we have 2 nurse practitioners, we have a pediatrician, a psychiatrist. We can get really quick appointments with no wait, no barrier as far as, do they take Medicaid? Maybe they don't even have insurance, right? Maybe they're newer to our country and they don't even have insurance.
Yeah.
So we try to just get rid of all those barriers and get them immediately connected. And then, not everybody needs medicine. Some people just need a counselor. So we have the school-based counselors, but we also have telehealth counselors that provide services in the evenings and weekends, so that we're minimizing learning disruptions and we're not putting more burden on parents.
So what is this commitment of this $30 million over 10 years? How do you see that impacting the services that you already offer and making certain that those services reach more children?
Well, we know that, a lot of times people have great ideas and we start great programs, and then funding runs out. And so right when you're really getting rolling, yeah, there we go. We're done. And so this is just going to allow us to continue to improve upon our services. These clinicians who are in schools now will continue to build relationships in that school with students, with administration, with teachers, so that they're part of that school community and a trusted member of that community. And they'll be able to help these kids and see these kids and build on those relationships over time.
So what about the training for staff, all right, and who helps them in terms of recognizing? The one thing about the past, when I was coming up in schools, usually the teachers were from the community.
Yes.
They were part of the culture. They had a relationship. A lot of times I had family members who were working within the administration are teachers.
Yes.
Right? So there's a different kind of relationship. They understood the signs. They understood the challenges. They knew the community. So what goes in, and first of all, congratulations on this effort. I think it's important, right? Mm-hmm. What goes into making sure that the schools and the administrators and the teachers are prepared to see especially what Thrive wants to accomplish in terms of mental and physical health and emotional health?
Right. So, we have a leadership team that manages our New Orleans-based programming, and they go into schools, especially during that beginning part when teachers and administrators and ancillary staff are doing that coming back to school education, right? And so we're speaking to staff, we're helping them understand these are the things that we're looking for. We're doing screeners, so universal screeners that kind of assess where a kid is at, if they're having difficulties with peer relations, if they're having difficulties with anger or with depression. And so we use that screener data to make sure we're hitting the kids that need it most. And schools, I think that they're doing a really good job at getting us those kids. Like, we don't really want to see those kids that are already seeing the school social worker for stuff that's on their IEP. We want to kind of get those kids that are sometimes missed because they fly under the radar, right? They're not necessarily a terrible conduct problem. They don't have an IEP, but there's something going on with them. And so we want to get those kids because a lot of times those kids just don't get services at all.
So what if I'm a parent who wants to take advantage of the initiatives you guys are offering, but I'm not necessarily tied to a New Orleans public school? Is there a way where families can reach out directly to you where it doesn't have to necessarily go through a referral from the school itself?
Absolutely. Parents can self-refer. We have, if you go to chinola.org/thrivekids, there's a very quick enrollment form. It's just a little bit of demographic information and like, what are you looking for? And you submit that. It allows us then to look in your medical record, to give you a call, to assess what's going on. We want to also assess those social drivers of health. Are we having housing difficulties? Are we having food insecurity? Are we having transportation issues? We want to assess all of that and see how we can mitigate some of those things so that you can access all the health services you need.
And then my other question would be, I understand that there are like universal screeners that help you identify. How do you know what you're doing is working? Like, what data are you doing on the other side that can show maybe the school board, because that's who you're in partnership with, or a parent? What are the drivers that tells me that what you're doing for my son works?
Thank you for asking that. That is a big part of what we're doing. We don't want to just talk about it, right?
Yeah,
we want
right.
to be able to show that we have made an impact. So other than like that qualitative data, which is like student, family, stakeholder surveys, that kind of stuff, but we're also doing some more quantitative data collection. Of course, the screener data, hopefully they'll improve from the beginning, pre and post, right? So when we come in, we'll be here. Hopefully we'll be over here, and it will be in a better place when we do that post screening. And so that's one data point. We've also we have like kind of a pilot, I don't want to call it research because it's not, but it's like a pilot observation where we're assessing kids who are involved in our program, and then behavior, like out of school suspensions, in school suspensions, attendance, academics.
So you're relying on the data from the school, like they're giving you the data.
Yeah, they're giving.
See,
us
that's
the
where
data.
I'm going with it, because I was wondering if someone from Thrive Kids is actually interfacing with the child in the environment and watching and kind of documenting as it goes along. But what you're saying to me is the school is saying, Lil Johnny had 5 suspensions before the universal screener and before the interventions, and then by the end of the year, he's not had any suspensions, and that's how you're saying what you're doing is working.
It's one piece. It's one piece, right?
Okay.
And so, I mean, last year was our first year, and so we kind of piloted with Renew. They are a larger CMO. They have they do a pretty good job collecting data, and so we looked at some of the things that we were able to kind of move the dial on are the things that we expected to, right? Which was behavior, and then of course that screener data improving. So it looks like we improved mental health scores, and it looks like we improved behavior from that small sample. in that pilot year. This year, we're working with some of the research professionals at LSU and Tulane that partner with LCMC to really kind of do a more robust data collection and so that we can really give some great data points and some great outcomes.
And then the other data point that I'm curious about is, what are the schools saying in terms of your presence in their buildings? Do they believe it's working?
So we did what we called stakeholder surveys at the end of last year, and so we asked a series of questions, and the responses that we got were overwhelmingly positive. We heard statements like, hey, because we had this additional person, I was able to actually focus on the social needs of my kids, like that homeless piece, that, oh, we don't have any school uniforms, we have food insecurity, we're truant a lot, right? Or we have attendance issues, because there was somebody else there really focusing on that mental health piece and able to do that counseling.
Are we compiling any data? I remember the first press conference, Joe Giarrusso and I and the mayor were at the school kicking off this program. Are they compiling any data that deals with suspensions, expulsions, truancy, school attendance, school behavior, that can quantify the work, or is that in the future?
Well, like I said, we did do the pilot program, the pilot data with Renew the first year, and we did assess all of those data points. With that small amount of time, that that first year with ramp up, and you shouldn't expect to see a huge attendance increase or decrease after, just a few months, right? But the things that we really expected to see, which was the behavior and the mental health scores, we did see an improvement.
So what about kids who are visually and hearing impaired? Do you offer services to accommodate those families?
So sure. We have...
let me set the table for Dr. We're going to break, but little Robert, I never forget when I came back home, one of the things I was doing, trying to find my way after college, was the time I was here was a substitute teacher. Little Robert at Guy Ray, right? He kept being a problem, a discipline problem, until we found out that he couldn't hear.
Right. That's about more often behavior issues are attached to something that we have to be able to diagnose or recognize.
Right.
And that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually, in dentistry, think about this. If you have a kid who doesn't want to smile or open their mouth because they are ashamed,
no different than a haircut. That's most of the boys in our school system. That's why the hoodie is on.
Look, we're going to go to break and come back to this, because an important observation by Dr. Wyatt. How do we deal with those kids? Because a lot of the problems were, like little Robert couldn't hear.
Yeah.
The kids who can't see.
Yep.
Concerned about.
Let's talk about
physical pain. That and a whole lot more with Chelsea Moore, Director of Specialty Practices for Thrive Kids. After the break, WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
All day long. And whose station?
Our station.
You know it's our station.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another above-average day expected, mostly sunny skies with light winds. Highs rise to the upper 70s. A few 80s are possible. Clouds increase tonight as a few scattered showers move in overnight into Tuesday morning. Rain possible Thursday before a blast of cold air arrives Friday. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
New Orleans. It's time to invest in our children's future. I'm Eric Doc Jones, an experienced educator, proven leader, and tireless advocate for our students. I'm in a runoff election for the Orleans Parish School Board District 2. It is critical because our students deserve better. I'm honored to have the endorsement of U.S. Congressman Troy Carter, Louisiana State Senator Joseph Boyd, and Councilman Oliver Thomas. Early voting begins November the 22nd and Election Day December the 7th. Vote Eric Doc Jones, District 2, number 12 on the ballot. Our children, our responsibility. Paid for by the committee to elect Eric Doc Jones, number 12.
New Orleans, get ready for Inspire Fest. Join us on December 7th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at McDonough 35 High School for a day of family, fun, music, and a chance to learn more about Inspire NOLA Schools, the highest performing open enrollment schools in the city. Enjoy live performances by Tanya Boyd Cannon, Brassaholics, and BJ So Cole. Bring the family, enjoy the entertainment, and see what makes Inspire NOLA different. Don't miss this unforgettable day. Find out more at inspirenolaschools.org. Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Join me, Dr. Jaquil Ross of New Schools for New Orleans for Talk That, NOLA Education. This Monday, we'll be joined by Dr. Fulmore, Deputy Superintendent from NOLA PS, to discuss the enrollment application process for the 25-26 school year. Be sure to tune in Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 1230 a.m.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 a.m.
We are back. 49 minutes past the top of the hour. Our conversation with Chelsea Moore, Director of Special Practice for Thrive Kids. It is the mission to support kids and young folk in school systems and mental and physical well-being. Back to the point, Dr. Wyatt, that you made, because there's several kids, if not diagnosed, right, we'll think that academic and discipline and behavior issues are the reasons, and there's in many cases they can't see, they can't hear.
Yeah.
The physical.
And that's why I said if it's not diagnosed, it needs to be recognized. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's why we can't underscore enough the importance of professionals interfacing with our children. I mean, people who have the training, who have the education, who have the expertise to spot certain things, because those are most of the time, the frontline folk are the teachers. And if you can get that early evaluation that mom or dad missed, and you can talk them into, look, I think you might want to get them evaluated so that we can see, because we have to remove the stigma of evaluations first and foremost, because an IEP does not mean something is wrong with your child. IEP simply means there are additional things that this child will benefit from if given the opportunity to be properly evaluated and then given the services that are needed to make certain that he's on an even playing field with his peers. That's it. That's what an IEP is. And most families don't know you can take your IEP to college. Mm-hmm. Like, you can take it with you. Yeah. So why wouldn't you want it? If you need extra time, if you need preferential seating, if you need to be closer to the teacher to be able to hear and read, easier, then why not take advantage of it? I never understood it, but as a special educator, it was my job to make certain that parents were not negating this as a means to, they're trying to label my child. Right. No. What they're trying to do is ensure that your baby has all of the resources at his disposal should he need them. Yeah. That's it.
So talk about how Thrive 101, Thrive Kids 101. Let's do Thrive Kids 101. How does it start? We have this funding now, right?
Right.
We have this initiative now. So I'm Thrive Care. Take me through the program.
Sure. So, your parent will enroll you in the program.
I'm his parent. I'm enrolling
Okay,
him.
there you go. And mom, it's really important. We want mom involved,
And
right?
Mama Ashanti.
Yeah, we want mom involved. We want mom to give informed consent because this does mean that I'm going to be able to look in OT's medical record, right, which is private, right? So HIPAA is, affected, and then it also allows me to speak with pertinent school staff about their health, right? So not everybody walking down the hallway, but like the school nurse or the school social worker, if appropriate, right? So we want mom to be informed that those things are happening. So that's why we only let the parents enroll people. We don't let schools enroll people, or it has to be the parent. Once that happens, we'll hand it off to a care coordinator. That's going to be either a social worker or a nurse. They're going to call mom, and they're going to assess those social drivers of health. They're going to assess the needs. They're going to just check the boxes. Mom, what are you looking for? Sometimes they need everything. They want a primary care physician. They want an eye doctor appointment. They want to go to the dentist. Sometimes we have grandmas, they just got kids, right? They were like, I just got these kids. I don't have any of their medical records. I don't know what's going on. Help me. And we can see, they already see Dr. So-and-so. We can make a follow-up, an appointment with them. So it helps us guide parents. Looking in the medical record can help us guide parents into what is easiest for them and best suited for them. And then we'll just get those appointments made. If they need transportation, we'll arrange that. Right now we're using Lyft for, to get people to and from. And that's been working really well because Medicaid transportation, God bless it, it could be a little taxing at times. So we're using Lyft right now because we have the funds to do it. If we can make all their appointments in one day, so mom's only missing one day of work, that's what we're going to do. If we can make that appointment early in the morning or later in the afternoon so that OT doesn't miss school, that's what we're going to do. So we're trying to minimize learning disruptions, minimize burden on parents, but just increase that access to services. And to be honest, you're talking about the vision and hearing impaired. When we pulled data from all the care coordination that we did, ophthalmology was number 3. So it was psychiatry, counseling, primary care, ophthalmology, dentistry. Those were the 4 areas that people needed help getting connected to the most. So I know that that's good. That's a good thing, right? And then also in our early learning, we have a team that works in early learning centers and serves those kids in the city seats, so those seats that are reserved for low-income families. And we're doing vision and hearing on all of them. And we're actually not just handing them a piece of paper that says, hey, OT failed a hearing screening today. We're actually saying, hey, we did the hearing screening. We noticed that he failed the hearing screening. Would you like us to make you an appointment with the audiologist today? And making that appointment and then calling them, hey, don't forget your appointment is tomorrow. Do you need a ride there? Just trying to help them access those services so that OT can start hearing now. And that way maybe he'll start speaking on time and that kind of stuff, right? So just trying to do that early intervention piece as well.
Yeah, because hearing is so important. There's a friend of mine who has a baby daughter. And she was doing my hair one day, and I literally told her, I said, you need to get your baby's hearing checked, because she was crawling around the floor, but she would not respond to her name being called. Her head doesn't move in the direction of sound. Those are important things to look for when you're talking to babies and they're not responding to you. If a baby hears a noise and they can hear, they're going to naturally turn in the direction of the noise. She would not do that. You call her name, she would not turn away to... And when she got a hearing, they put 2 because she could not. Yeah. But the mom didn't. She just thinks she's a baby. It'll get there. And I'm like, no. You need to go get a hearing check because early intervention is key. You don't want to wait.
Everything.
I mean, we have examples of how the challenges led to stereotypes, no matter how accomplished you are. One of our leading officials in this city, Jim Singleton, was deaf in both ears.
Oh, wow.
People didn't know that. Nope. That's why he talked. He learned to read lips as a kid, and as he got older, master's degree in mathematics, graduate of the U.S. Army War College in Virginia. But the Times-Picayune an editor did a story about how unaccomplished and dumb he was years ago when he first started because of his speech impediment.
Chelsea, that's fighting words.
I know.
What?
Because of his speech impediment.
Yeah.
So,
You just never know.
So as a grown man, even with all of his education and accomplishment, because he had troubles speaking until Dr. Berenson, who was at LSU, the center, devised these aids that actually got into his, so he could begin to start having partial hearing.
It's about the diagnosis, or it's about a professional recognizing, and that's what that somebody has to recognize. Absolutely.
Going back to that dental piece, we saw a girl. She was in middle school and just had a lot of needed a lot of significant dental work, and the mom says she's doing poorly in school because you know why? She doesn't want to raise her hand. She doesn't want to open her mouth, and they're like, "Oh, she's not that smart. She doesn't know the answer to any of this." Right. It wasn't that. She had this other thing going on that needed to be addressed so that she could reach her full potential, right? And
so what's the future vision for? And man, here we are at the top of the hour. How long can you stay with us?
I'm good.
You can stay with us until the next break? Sure. Doc, is that good? Important topic, guys. Talking about season to be thankful. Let's be thankful for our kids getting all the resources and everything they need so they can be productive citizens. We're going to go to break. WBOK 12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
What New Orleans is talking about. And whose station?
Your station,
No,
OT.
it's our station, baby. We'll be back after the break.
WBOK 12:30 a.m. New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Diddy appeared in a New York court Friday seeking release on a $50 million bond as he awaits trial for sex trafficking and racketeering. A decision is expected next week. Wall Street is closing higher to end a positive week. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 426 points to 44,296. The S&P 500 rose 20 points to 59,69. The Nasdaq gained 31 points to 19,003 points. Los Angeles is a step closer to becoming a so-called sanctuary city. It formally establishes a policy preventing the city from helping federal immigration officials with roundups or other actions aimed at illegal immigrants. The ordinance still needs a second vote because of amendments and then Black Mayor Karen Bass's signature for approval. And a new mural honoring the legacy of former Black D.C. Mayor Marion Barry will be unveiled this weekend. A ceremony to dedicate the mural will be held tomorrow at the Marion Barry Jr. Building. Get BIN News 24/7 at BINnews.com.
New Schools for New Orleans, along with Allstate Sugar Bowl and Entergy New Orleans, would like to send a huge congratulations to our class of 2024 New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Award honorees. This year, we had 90 Teachers of the Year from each public school in New Orleans. Each of them was recognized at our annual gala, where we had over 350 attendees. We're excited to also share that each honoree is receiving a $1,000 classroom grant. Thank you for everything you do, teachers.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 12:30 a.m.
We are back, man. This is the season to be thankful. And once you're thankful, you have reason to be jolly, but also the season for giving, Thanksgiving. And we're talking to Chelsea Moore, Director of Specialty Practice for Thrive Kids, and that program that's its mission is support students in their mental and physical health. And Dr. White, you laid out a really important thing, right? Is that, so what happens when there's a kid that you really have not been diagnosed, right? Because it's not always about
not always a diagnosis
or academics or your inability to learn.
Yeah, because I think that's the pillar here. That's the anchor here when we put folk in front of our children. If they are not in the field, so to speak, in terms of the lane that they're trying to walk in, you're really doing the child a disservice, because what could have been initiated in kindergarten, first grade, you have to wait until you get that third grade teacher who's looking like, no, there's something wrong here, right? And we need to figure out what that thing is. But if that's 3 years of disservice, right? Something that could have been, and that's the problem here, and that's what I liken it to. So even with you with the mental health service and the physical services, I'm talking about the academia of our kids too, and we put people in front of them who are not servicing their needs, and then they're just being passed along. That need grows and grows. So that's why early intervention on every level, whether it's health, whether it's social emotional, whether it's mental, academia as well. Early intervention tells me that there are universal screeners. There's baselines of assessments that we give kids to tell us where they're functioning at.
Yeah.
And if this is not your field and you don't know how to diagnose it or you don't know how to recognize it, and you're doing kids a disservice. Yeah. So I love, the premise of the program. My only hope is that the kids who most need it have access to it.
Right.
And if not, then that's the equity part of everything that bothers me, because there are children who only get these sorts of services when they're interfacing with the judicial system. Yeah. And that's my issue here.
It's if they're
will
not
always be
if
my
they're not a
issue.
behavior problem,
Yeah.
they're flying under the radar,
Yes.
right? Teachers are only referring if it's causing a disruption to their day.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so there's a kid who's quietly sitting there, maybe not learning at their best potential, not thriving the way
And
they
they're
should
okay
be.
with compliance, right?
Right, but as long as they're not
Yeah.
throwing the desk
Mhm.
they let them sit there, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think that those screeners are really important, and being part of that school community, like our clinicians, they go to work every day in that school. They're part of that school community. So I think that really helps because they see the kids, right? They can talk to the teacher. Hey, what's going on with so and so? I see him in the hallway. It looks like this. You know what I mean? They're part of that community, so they can help identify those kids. And so I think that's an important piece.
So Chelsea, you mentioned that you guys offer Lyft to and from.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, right, I'm thinking about the astronomical money that must cost, because I think about that with just transportation with this disjointed system that we have. Is there not a way where we can minimize the cost of transportation so we can maximize the impact of the actual services that we're providing for children?
So, Medicaid transportation is really the only option for a lot of these families that don't have a vehicle.
And Medicaid is going through Lyft?
No, Medicaid has they have private, and I'm not an expert, but
Yeah.
from how I understand it, they contract to ABC transportation company.
Okay.
Right? And so they'll say, okay, we have somebody that needs a ride to the doctor on Thursday at 9:00, and they'll kind of put it out there. ABC transportation might say, okay, I'll take them. But then they get behind or something happens, and then parents are, and there's also a big window. It's be ready anytime between 7:30 and 9. Well, who wants to do that?
So can Thrive Kids partner with
a
transportation company so that we can alleviate the fiscal cost of transportation?
I think that's the next step. I mean, we just found that we couldn't get people to get to their appointments if we were utilizing Medicaid.
Because in my brain, I'm thinking, if we spend less money moving them, then more kids can benefit from the services that you guys are providing. Because transportation, even for the school system itself, is a hefty bag of money that we could figure out a better way to get kids to and from and not have the costs be so cumbersome. That's
also,
just what I'm thinking.
Improving services in locations that don't have it, like in New Orleans East. Making sure that
Who
they
need it the most.
Yeah, making sure. Because think about it. I grew up in New Orleans East, right? I grew up on Morrison Road. Anytime you want to go anywhere, you got to go over one of those bridges.
Yeah.
You have to. It's hard. It's 2 or 3 buses, and you got another baby, and you got this kid, and you try to catch the bus to go all the way across town. That's a lot to ask for anybody.
So let's talk about that, and we focus on that. United Way has moved their resource center to Crowder and Morrison.
Beautiful.
And Children's Hospital is actually looking at. We've been working on this for over a year now. They're looking at a facility. We know that there are more black children in New Orleans East than any other part of the city.
Yes.
We know that more black children are actually being born in that area. So the numbers are there. How do we get social scientists and providers to go where the people are?
Well, I think they need to realize, I believe, per capita, there's more minors, more children living in New Orleans East than any other place, right? And
being born.
Yeah.
Especially black kids.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's where the kids are. So to me, it doesn't make any sense about why wouldn't you want to set up practice there? That's where the kids are, right? But we know that it's hard to access services out there. And so, having that would also, going back to transportation, if we're only going down the street, parents can get there, right? They don't need the lift for that, but they need the lift to get from Michoud to Tchoupitoulas. They need it for that. But yeah, to me, it only makes sense, right? That's where the people are. So why not go? And, I don't know. I loved growing up in New Orleans East. I can still tell you who my pediatrician was. My dentist was Dr. Taggart. I got all my services right there in the East. And why that's not possible now, it's beyond me.
504-582-9422. Chelsea Moore, the Director of Specialty Practices for Thrive Kids. Why? It's because the stereotype and the branding, in many cases, has nothing to do with the facts. But we're debunking those stereotypes and those negative brands. And now we see some movement in the right direction, not just with Thrive Kids, but for services where our people are future vision.
Yeah.
So 5 or 10 years from now, Thrives will be what and would have done what?
Improving access to these services for people who need it the most, right? I will say, too, 44% of the kids who are in our program are from New Orleans East. Last year, it was 35. I just ran new numbers before. That's
a good thing.
Yeah, it's now 44%. Yeah. So that means that we're hitting the kids that we want to hit.
So based on those data points, do you think we can use those data metrics to encourage mental health professionals to set up shop in New Orleans East so that you're not lifting your baby from one part of the city to another?
I think it's bigger than that. I think the Medicaid reimbursement rate for behavioral health services is so low that if you have a base that's almost all Medicaid, you will not be able to survive, right? And so that's why really you see a lot of psychiatrists and counselors and evaluators, they just self-pay, right? You can only get it if you can afford it.
Yeah.
Because the reimbursement rate in Louisiana for these services is so low. So I think it's it's a bigger problem, than just setting up shop, right?
So now that the table has been set, right, for Thrive, we got about 11 minutes left. Since 2011, Louisiana has lingered in the bottom 2% when you talk about the health and well-being of kids. The Alice Report from United Way, many social scientists, academics like Dr. White and others, consistently, we lag in dropout rates. We lead the nation in dropout rates. The economic well-being of kids, we're 50th now. Again, access to quality health care, we're 49th or 50th, depending on which survey you take a look at. How does the state get involved in initiatives that actually target the well-being of kids, and why aren't our state officials more involved, especially given our national standing?
Well,
what are they saying when you talk to state reps and state senators and the governor's office, especially about the well-being of Louisiana's kids, given our national standing?
Right. And I mean, these aren't new stats, right? So I don't know. It's not like I'm telling them something they don't know. So I don't know. I don't know what it will take to make them realize. I think a lot of times people in Baton Rouge think, oh, well, this is a New Orleans problem.
I know what it'll take.
You tell me.
I think that until all of the folk who Oliver just mentioned recognize the humanity of Black children, this will always be a thing. Because if 44% of the population of kids you're servicing look like me, that's why nobody cares. Yeah. That's just the long and short of it. And I'm not going to tiptoe around it, because wherever kids are involved, it bothers me in a way that it probably should it? But it keeps me up at night because I don't understand how our most valuable assets are the least served in a city that is mostly mine.
Yeah.
How do
In
we
a state
Like
prioritize
that's
it?
if the moment the tide turns and other children who look more like you are affected by certain things, that's when we're going. This is a man that didn't want to feed children over the summer because he thought the population of children that he was depriving of food came from us. That's what he thought. And somebody had to go let him know what the facts of the welfare system were, what the facts of the food stamp system were. Somebody had to tell him something somewhere. Because then all of a sudden you acquiesce, right? But when we have these conversations and we don't decide to tell the truth, that's why the truth stays hidden. And that's why children continue to be disserviced. Right. That's why when we let folks self-report and we believe in their data and then you go do your own data and it's like, well, something ain't right here, right? There's a reason why it's happening. It's because it's affecting Black children. That's why.
Similar
and
to,
the full stop, like exclamation point. That's why.
Yeah, similar to repealing that, raise the age.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
trying to charge,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Senate Bill number 2, which everybody should be vexed about. But it was put on the floor by a white woman. So she doesn't see any buy-in about Black children. That's why OT and I were talking. Y'all want to talk about inner city crime, but y'all don't want to talk about domestic terrorism. Because if that's the case, let's talk about that. And let's see how we could create some Senate bills to address that crime. But nobody wants to talk about that because the demographic of people who are committing domestic terrorism don't look like us. So they want to keep you looking at us. So those kinds of things can go unchecked. But that's just my feeling and opinion about it. I'm going to calm myself down because I really hate when we have conversations around children and we disservice them on such a level that we don't think they should have good food. We don't think they should have good health care. We don't think that they should have good services. And we don't even think they should have books in school. And then you wonder why the reading level is what it is. But you could go across the city and go to a different school and it feels almost like you're in a whole nother world because they have good food. They have books. They don't have metal detectors treating them like criminals and pat downs at their school. And you wonder why they can thrive academically.
Do you know what the breakdown is? I know in the city, but what the breakdown is in a state, like Black children versus white children. I wonder. I don't know.
In terms of what?
Like population size. Like what percentage is Black and what percentage is
in the
white
state?
In the state.
Okay, I could go look for that for you.
I'm just
if
saying
we talk in New Orleans,
because
we can have a conversation. But
But
the state, yes,
if
I
the
can
state
go look.
is at the bottom, that means they're at the bottom too. You know what I mean? They
We're
should
at the
be
bottom in most metrics.
Yeah.
Most of them. And the fact of the matter is, people in positions of power can see that and still don't think if we lift the least of us, it will lift the rest of us. But we don't do that because that would mean an even playing field for children that they don't see as children, for people who they don't see as human beings. And that's why Louisiana is going to continue to suffer for the majority of its people, because the majority of its people look like me and we work the hardest and we receive the least. Yeah. And that's the sad part.
And so how do we
tell the truth. Yeah. That's how we get to it, right? We tell the truth about things. We have to stop pretending that Senate Bill 2 is not targeted.
Oh, I agree.
It's very targeted, right? Because we allowed him to slip that into a taxation. Like, why did we allow that? The special session was supposed to be about taxes. So how did we start talking about crime in New Orleans?
Yeah. I think though, now we have it. I know they were trying to get the big vote on it in December when, is low turnout, right? And now I think it's pushed back to March. So I know that we met with some folks from the city and TCA, and we're looking at messaging on how to tell people they got to go out and vote against this.
There's early voting going on right now, and most folk don't even know. Yeah, they don't even know there's amendments that they're pushing from the state capitol, right? That they want to be able to. There is no way that you could think it's okay to slide initiatives on a ballot that will literally strip people of their homes if they're behind on their taxes. That's how most of us lose our land here. If it's not outright stolen, they wait for us to run into a fiscal problem, and then somebody in the clerk or court's office is telling somebody that buy a property, oh girl, this person ain't pay their taxes, and they showing up at the auction just buying our houses from underneath us. There's something sick about that. Yeah. And people who are supposed to be at the state legislature fighting on our behalf are sitting on their hands about it. How do you not ring the alarm and tell us that this is going on?
Right.
There's an amendment on the ballot right now. Early voting is going on and folk don't even know that they're trying to lower the threshold of how you could be behind on your taxes and they could take your house from you. Something that's probably your only asset.
Right.
in the black community. It's just sick to me. But the reason why we continue to do these things, Chelsea, is because the truth is never put on Front Street. We mask it because it makes us feel better about the disservice that we're doing to other human beings. I don't care what your skin color look like. There is humanity that you ought to respect. Right. And that's what we're not doing here. You shouldn't even need a Thrive Kids, to be honest with you, if our school system actually had all of the things it once had embedded in it. The reason all of these organizations exist now is because it's beneficial to everybody. And everybody making money and our kids doing worse and worse and worse. If they ain't dumbing down our kids, they locking up our kids or they outright killing them. That's our choices here, to be black in the city of New Orleans or to be black in America. That's your 3 choices. And that's what frustrates me. I'm sorry.
No. Ring the bell.
That's what frustrates me.
No, but I think, and I always tell folk, the spirit invoked in the conversations we have here that matter. And we appreciate so much what you do because we started.
Definitely do, Chelsea. If I didn't make that clear, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we started talking about being thankful. And today is my late mother's birthday, right? And so the challenges. And so what we're thankful for is to have another day and an opportunity to get it right. And if we're going to be thankful, the most important thing, and I think with Dr. Wyatt's spirit and her soul and her being, is for our children, right? Not just that they're born as a gift from God, but that we are providing them with everything.
Yeah, how do you vote to not feed kids?
That
it's insane.
Everything that they need. So with Thrive, as Thrive Kids, as you guys try to set the example, we would hope that while you do Thrive, everyone would strive.
Yeah.
Right. To do the same. So, so for us, it's important not only that you're not that you're successful, but that everybody else partners with you.
Yeah, and I think a big thing, you asked earlier about what's next. I think we really have to focus on addressing like those root causes of poor health, like structural racism, like no housing, like food deserts.
I appreciate that you get that though.
Yeah.
Because when we have these kind of conversations, everybody want to gloss over the fact that the playing field has never been equal or even. So there's no equity where there's inequality.
Right.
So you can't talk about crime without talking about all of the things that perpetuate the crime. Because if you keep it from me, I'm going to go get it by any means necessary. And that's just the rule of survival. You're forcing our children to survive in a city where they're supposed to thrive. They built it. Why are they struggling?
Exactly. No, you're right. And I think that kind of getting to that, those root causes, that I think is that's my goal, right?
Yeah.
And to be kind of a hub where we're treating the whole child, right? Because, you can have a kid that's depressed and you can counsel them and do CBT all you want. But if they're still homeless.
Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah. Right? They're still going to be depressed.
Mm-hmm.
What, you can be smiling, on the corner?
And just because you go home to a structure, that doesn't mean that's a home. Right. It's a building. Because if there's no love in it, that's not a home. Yeah. If there's no food in it, if the lights are not on. And so these are the things that bother me when we talk about like our legislators and all of the people who we vote into these offices to defend our liberties and our freedoms and our right to just exist. And they go up there and they just sell us out. And then we come back and have to do this song and dance all over again.
Right.
How do we let somebody slide something into a legislative session that has nothing to do with the session? And people are voting on it.
Mm-hmm. And they do it all the time.
But yeah.
Wow, what it's so nice we had this time together just to have a laugh and sing a song. See, get started.
He keeps trying to turn it back to gratitude.
We're going to get back to the gratitude of it all. But I'm going to fight for my kids every time.
Yeah, but that's part of gratitude.
Yes.
That's unapologetic. And I think we needed that. I think, first of all, thank you so much. The mental health, mental, physical, and emotional well-being of our children is Dr. Wyatt and I talk all the time. So that's our product, right? So if we produce a good product there, that means what? We continue life, right?
Yeah.
We continue a sustainable life.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me here
again.
I love being here. I love talking to both of you.
So how can people get in touch with you?
Chinola.org. nowla.org/thrivekids.
Right.
Or ask anybody at your school. They should know about us and how to connect us to connect you to us.
Chelsea, have a wonderful and blessed
Happy
holiday
Thanksgiving.
season and happy Thanksgiving
to both of you.
God
Thanks
bless
so
you.
much.
Happy birthday, Mama.
Happy birthday, Mama.
We're going to take a break, right? WBOK 12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Yeah, all day long, all morning long. Hey, light it up, guys. We'll be back after the break, and it's our station, y'all.
Absolutely it is.
Trying to grow your business or increase traffic to your location? We can help. WBOK 1230 AM has a number of solutions that will meet your individual needs. Give one of our consultants a call today at 504-582-9420 or email us at info@wbok1230.com. And remember, an investment with WBOK is an investment in our community. Call today.
I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. A woman is recovering this morning after being shot downtown. This happened earlier this morning around 1 a.m. on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard and Calliope Street. Police say the woman was shot in the buttocks. She was taken to the hospital. No further information has been given at this time. A week after the deadly mass shooting at the 9-Time Second Line, one group takes to the streets of New Orleans. The lady and men bug jumpers held a second line on Sunday. NOPD still needs your help identifying those responsible in the tragic mass shooting in the St. Roch area. The reward has now gone up to $10,000. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. You know the number, 504-822-1111. New Orleans Saints legend Steve Gleason is resting after what he calls a traumatic accident on Saturday. Gleason's wife, Michelle, posted about it on social media, saying Steve had an accident exiting his van on Saturday. Gleason played for the Saints for 8 years, producing one of the greatest moments in franchise history when he blocked a punt against the Atlanta Falcons the night the Superdome reopened following Hurricane Katrina. And good news for travelers hitting the road. Gas prices are lower this Thanksgiving compared to last year. The national average price for regular gas now sits at $3.06 per gallon. Louisiana stands at $2.72 a gallon. In Orleans Parish, the average price to fill your tank is $2.73. And JP and on the North Shore, it's about $2.74. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
This is wellness advocate and host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind, Pastor David Patan. Every week, I'm educating you on how to be healthier by making simple changes to your diet. So join me every Saturday at 1 p.m. and let's get better together, only on WBOK 1230. What New Orleans is talking about.
Join Inspire NOLA Charter Schools, Freddie King, Hancock Whitney, Six War Steppers, and more for 2 NOLA Love Drive-Thru Turkey and Ham giveaways. On Tuesday, November 26th, the first giveaway begins at 9 a.m. in Algiers at Alice Hart Charter School. And the second giveaway begins at 2 p.m. in historic Treme at the Mahalia Jackson Theater. Receive a free turkey or ham and food items while supplies last. We'll see you there. Learn more at InspireNOLASchools.org.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
It ain't gonna happen. 26 minutes past the top of the hour. Thank you, Chelsea Moore. We started our conversation this morning about being Thanksgiving and me wishing my mom, my late mom, happy birthday. Today is her birthday. It's a reason my sister and I made a pact to be thankful and to celebrate this because Yuli's loss is very hard for us.
Yes.
There's only two of us in our immediate family left, and we're watching a lot of our elderly pass on, but it doesn't mean we can't celebrate. And then the conversation with Thrives is about if our kids are our product, right?
Mhm.
And so if we don't have next generations, then there will be no
What's the
generations.
point?
At some
Yeah.
point, we'll be
Yeah.
gone. So Dr. White has said, so what do we do? How do we pour into? I think is usually the spiritual term. How do we make sure that next generation gets what it needs to not only survive, but to thrive?
Yeah. Well, I think
And Pop Jones, we're gonna get to you after
I
Dr.
think
White.
the key to that is to give our children the people they deserve, the resources they deserve, access they deserve. So on every level, if you're not giving them that, then you're disservicing them in some sort of way. I think it's a disservice to throw anybody in front of our children and let them play school. So you don't even think enough of me to give me a real teacher, right? You don't think of enough of me to give me a real book. You gonna worksheet me to death every day. So this is what you think my value is, right? When you can go to a different school and you see tambourines and everything that kids need to actually do a music class, right? When you see a PE class having all of the resources to do a PE class, some of our kids
And
are
a
just
shower
walking
that
around
works.
Blacktop or
And a
walking around the
shower that
gym
works,
for
right.
health class. There are
Right.
no resources in the building.
Right.
There's nothing for them to exercise their bodies so that they exercise their mind. And then they go sit in a classroom with a person who's not even experienced in the content that they're trying to teach them. And then you wonder why they can't read.
The plumber teaching electrical.
Come on, now,
class.
come on, stop it. It's just too much for me. And I get frustrated because it's not that hard to do right by kids, but you have to have a heart for children. And if your heart don't beat for children, that's why you so easily dispose of them.
Then we're going to go to Pop. Pop, we're coming to you right now, Pop, and thank you for holding. That comment we're going to use for the rest of the show. What do you have a heart for?
Yeah.
Who do you have a heart for?
Yeah.
And if the heart is just for you, is it just for you to make you the best you so that we can tolerate you or deal with you? But I think that's in this season right now. I always tell folks, God always gives us a foundation for our conversations here. What is your heart for? If you're bold enough to call us and tell us, do you even have one?
Do you have one?
504-582-9422. And we'd
Gotta
really
go see the wizard.
We'd really like to know, right? We'd really
Go see
like
the
to.
wizard.
Pop, thank you so much for holding, Pop. We love you. Happy Thanksgiving season, man. You're on with OT and Dr. Wise.
Thank you for taking my call, Dr. Wise and OT.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Mom. I know she's looking down on heaven.
Yeah.
Still telling you what to do and
doubt.
still talking to you. And that's a beautiful thing. I want to say to Dr. Wise, I was in church yesterday. I shouted enough. I didn't need to shout no more this morning because every time you come on, when I think you to say enough, you take it to another level. You not only talk about them children, which is a beautiful thing, but you talk about them, I ain't going to call them no names, in Baton Rouge, and what they're doing to their people.
Yeah.
So if they had 5 or 10 more like you and OT, we can get out of a lot of this mess we in. Yes, indeed.
I appreciate you.
So Pop.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth. I ain't just making this up.
Yeah, Pop. What are you thankful for this Thanksgiving? And you're an elder in our family. We appreciate you. We're
I'm
thankful for you here.
For God has shown me favor, and I got a good mate on my side that, as someone younger than me, that's helping me on this journey. That's a beautiful thing right there. But then I thank God for giving me the mind that I have at an older age, and that I could still see things and understand what's going on. So I have so much to thank for. If I had 10,000 tongues, I could not thank him enough. When I look around and see a lot of boys I played with, they're gone. But God showed me favor and gave me some more time. And to have somebody at my side to help me on this journey. That's what I'm thankful for.
Thank you, Pop. We appreciate you, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you, yeah?
Same to you all.
Happy Thanksgiving, Pop. So look, I somebody in the comments made a very good point. We might need to invite somebody from our New Orleans delegation to come and talk to us about the special session, because I it's really bothering me that most folk are going into the voting booth ill-informed about what all of this stuff means, right? Like, we have early voting is going on right now to November 30th.
Yeah.
And there are 4 amendments that I think people heard for the first time on WBOK.
Right. Yes.
And so
you
it's
did a great
important that
job.
you understand what a vote of yes means to your overall, like, health and wellness in this community. We have to educate folk, because, I mean, if you go early vote and you are misinformed, that can really change the trajectory of that, because we know the numbers are going to be low, right?
Yeah.
So we can't have the people who are getting up to go vote be ill-informed.
But Doc, I tell folk all the time, facetiously and jokingly, I used to not be a conspiracy theorist because I thought OJ did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you pay attention to life and you go through the stuff, there are people who engineer and socially re-engineer.
Yes.
There are people who conspire.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who plan,
Mm-hmm.
right? While you're just living.
Create the assassination attempts. Yes.
You're just living your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're living your life. You've gone through enough stuff. You know that anything is
Mm-hmm.
possible, and the probabilities versus improv, that's all math.
Yes.
Right, and odds. But, it used to be we would sit around the dinner table and talk. So we have access to more information now.
Yeah.
And less access to information.
Yes. Well, that's what the technology boom was about.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to gather at the kitchen table anymore because everybody got a cell phone or iPad,
Right.
and everybody's scrolling on the wrong kind of media.
But we're more misinformed.
We are, because we're getting our information from X and Instagram and TikTok, right? and nobody's vetting it. They just, the people on TikTok
Right,
said it, so it
right.
got to be so.
Yeah, the Martians are
But
coming.
there are some very informed people on TikTok, so you can tell what your feed is about if you scroll it and all you see is there's some very informed people on TikTok. Right. If you listen to the right ones, you will be informed. But we like the salacious stuff.
So I'm going somewhere, right?
Go ahead, I'm coming with you.
I'm going somewhere. So we have more access to information and less information, or less access to information, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've laid that out. Why? Those things that used to, when I was a kid, they would bring the voting booths into the schools.
Yep.
Right? We would
remember.
have many town halls and assemblies in school to deal with information.
Yes.
In communities.
We also had civics back then.
And with stuff that was going on.
Yes.
So if the voting public has become less informed,
Mm-hmm.
right? If we know in this age of information, we're getting less pertinent information to our lives, why hasn't the school systems readjusted to go back to using some of those old principles, right?
Because the educated Negro is the most dangerous being walking the earth. You can't educate the Negro. Why are you asking for that, Oliver? Because the revolution
Because you're an educator. You're more qualified
will not be televised.
than I am. So
that's why.
So systems. So this is what
that's how you got this presidency that you got.
So I'm gonna walk down this road, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have African American leadership.
Yes.
School board. We have African American teachers, principals, charter leaders,
Mm-hmm.
African American state officials who wear state public education is a state issue. So even if there's a conspiracy, right, the other way, then they ultimately have the power to say, no, we can get back to basic civics and basic education.
But not when you're
and basic
complicit,
assembly.
because it's beneficial to you, right? There's a lot of, we talk about this all the time on this station. There are too many of us in the rooms where these decisions are being made and we ain't standing up against it. We acquiesce to them. We give into them, and you got to ask yourself why. Why? And there's a certain school board member that I find, because you show up as a black man, right? You present as a black man, but all of your policies tell me something different. Do you even love yourself? Do you love black children, right? Because there's something sick about you agreeing with what you know is destroying the very fabric of public education in this community. There's something very sick about that. And now you're somebody's daddy, right? So I'm wondering if your lens, or are you somebody's daddy? I don't know. I think you done had a baby. Yeah. But if you're somebody's father now, I wonder if the same disservice that you handed out to so many children in this city, I wonder if your tune is going to change when it's your baby being subjected to the things that you subjected other people's kids to. That's why it's happening. The folk in Baton Rouge,
yes, it
who don't live nowhere around New Orleans, can't make a decision about New Orleans without the complicity of the leaders of New Orleans.
So young lady, yes, it changes. Once it affects me and mine.
Oh, you ain't got to tell me I know.
And that's how
I know.
The energy.
Oh, I know, but
works.
I want to watch it change so I can put it back in your face and say, that's not what you were saying.
Personal.
That's not what you were saying when it was about my son and these failing schools, right? That's not how you voted for my son. So now the ties get the turn because you don't want it to affect your son? Or do you think your proximity to whiteness gives you the pass of your blackness? Is that what it is?
So there were a couple very special things that happened, that have been happening over the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple things that have happened this election season.
Mm-hmm.
We've rediscovered black men. We've highlighted the prominence of black women and how they'll stick together for a cause.
Yes.
And in the last several weeks, there's been an emphasis in the conversation, both in meetings, public and private, about the importance of the black family.
Yes.
Okay? So during Thanksgiving, we talk about family. It was so powerful last night. Debutante Emerald Richardson, man, had a celebration last night that her mom and dad gave that was awesome. They're coming out with these young black men and several young black women in terms of with the Deltas. It was absolutely, and one of the themes.
Shout out to the Divine Nine.
One of the themes was about family, right, and the importance of family. Several weeks ago, with a group of men, with Seth and Phil Brock and Reverend Brown, our conversation was not just about ourselves, it was about family. Doc, you've dealt with individual kids, you've dealt with parents, right? The education institution used to be the family. The family would go to the school, right? How do we get back to that institution as one of the first lines of defense and education around those things that are important to us?
I mean, it's hard to do that when,
and that doesn't mean a mom, a dad, and a dog.
Yeah,
and a
it's
car,
family.
but that
family.
unit.
Yeah. I that's the village for me, though. You know, I believe in the village. With my whole entire heart, because there's not a person walking this earth can tell me what the project didn't do for me.
Right.
Like it might have just looked like bricks to you, but that was community for me. Right, I was the college girl. Like, they protected me at all costs. They wouldn't let me get involved in certain things. Even certain boys, you know what I mean. There was one of them that I just liked that they couldn't do nothing about. But like, my mama was fiercely like, you know what I mean. So certain things, the village is. I love where I come from, because if not for where I come from, I don't think I could be my whole self. You know.
So is it something we can do to reconstruct that unit? Because I don't think
you got to purge the village of the sellouts first of all.
Okay.
You have to purge the village of the sellouts. The people who you understand, they may on the surface look like they have your best interests at heart, but you've watched them vote time and time again. You've watched them. You saw the policies they supported. How many times they got to show you who they are before you believe them?
Right.
Then we get rid of them. Right? So that's the first thing. We need some real, you talk about gatekeepers, we need some real community keepers, some real village keepers. That's what we got to get back to, who going to protect the village at all costs, even if it means expelling you out of it. You don't deserve to be here. I don't care that you look like me. You've shown me time and time again that all you do is look like me. You don't protect me. You don't value me. You don't support me. You don't vote for things that support my humanity. So you got to go. Exile.
Right.
That's what it is. Now, you could go take that up with God. Because what don't come out in the wash come out in the rinse. I'm telling you right now. I'm just telling you that right now.
She's being poetic on
Get
this,
them,
man.
get them out of here. That's the first thing we have to do. We have to stop playing politics with people's actual lives. I know you want the job. I know you want the position. I know you want to say and do all of the things that needs to be said and done to just get the job. But when you get the job, then you got to actually do the job.
Be the job.
But if you've taken all of these things and monies and all of this other stuff from the people who actually gonna pull your coat, then how you gonna be viable for the village? Right. You can't serve two masters. That's biblical. So we got to get rid of them.
So, in Persian Village, humanity. Is there any hopes for people like Chelsea Moore, right? Who for her, it's not about her race, it's about her humanity and her mission, right? Where do the allies come from to prioritize our children and to prioritize our needs? Because it's not a mission that just one person can accomplish.
It's not. And when I say purge the village, I really mean that.
Right.
I don't care how long you've been voting for that person, or I don't care the relationship. If that person does not serve the interests of the village, they have to go. They have to go, period. You might not, here's the thing, you're not going to like everything about everybody. But when you know a person's heartbeat for your village, and you have to protect them, and you have to make certain that we could ascend them to positions that get us what we want. Where are the real, Dr. Bowie don't have no business still fighting. Singularly. No business doing it.
No.
And it bothers me that he go up there time and time again, and he's the only person standing up there. Where the rest of them at? I don't care what your schedule look like. Reschedule it and go stand at his side. Because I can remember one meeting, that white boy literally looked at Dr. Bowie and said, so if this is what New Orleans want, where's the New Orleans people? Why are you the only person saying that this is what New Orleans want? That should have made this city crumple. When he said that to him. How dare you? I knew I wanted to snatch him for talking to Dr. Bowie that way, but hey, that's just me.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Line number one. John, you're on with OT and Dr. Wyatt.
Hey, morning, Dr.
Happy Thanksgiving, good brother. Bless you, man.
Hey, just what you said there, Dr. Wise. I've been saying it for years. You know, other communities, when you betray them, they have procedures by which they punish you. I mean, you know, like you said, you either ostracize, or if you got a business, they don't support it.
Yep.
Some kind of way they deal with people who betray their people, and we've never been able to do that. We just kind of, oh, poor baby, we understand.
Go ahead, John.
You know,
that's right.
You look at what happened just recently out there in California. You know, the Congressional Black Caucus.
Yeah.
They actually, at the last minute, they went along with Gavin Newsom and pulled the trigger on not supporting reparations.
Yep.
And, you know, where's the outcry in the black community? All of them should be removed.
They got to go.
Great point.
They got to go.
Great point. Great point.
Another thing has to happen.
Great example to support Dr. Wyatt's position.
Yeah. Next thing that has to start happening, we have to start delineating. I think that with Larry or someone who said, no, we all Pan-African. No, Pan-Africanism doesn't work. Because it always, you look at a lot of black immigrants who look like you.
And look who's the next caller just called, Larry.
Then they distance themselves from you in their communities. When they're dealing with things in their communities or back in their home country, you can't get involved with that. And I understand that. You have to be respectful. But then you can't come here and get involved with something that we got going on between us and America. That's not your business.
Wow.
You know, and we're going to have to start doing that. If they get their feelings hurt, hey, tough, you know.
That's it.
I can't speak on Haiti. I can't go there and get involved in your politics. I can maybe make a suggestion.
Hey, John, we going to break, man. But that gave some, how would I say, some footnotes to Dr. Wyatt's position. Right. And guess what? And Larry's on hold, so he'll be able to respond to it all.
Let me say this right quick.
Go ahead.
If Larry, if you listen, you got to understand, we as black people are related to the rest of the world. We have a common origin.
Yes.
But our experience here has created our own ethnogenesis. We are separate and distinct people. We are our own ethnogenesis. And I'll listen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Larry, hold on, man. It's WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Whose station?
Our station.
Yo, you know it's your station.
The lines
we'll
are
be
lit.
back after the break.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another above-average day expected, mostly sunny skies with light winds. Highs rise to the upper 70s. A few 80s are possible. Clouds increase tonight as a few scattered showers move in overnight into Tuesday morning. Rain possible Thursday before a blast of cold air arrives Friday. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
New Orleans, it's time to invest in our children's future. I'm Eric Doc Jones, an experienced educator, proven leader, and tireless advocate for our students. I'm in the runoff election for the Orleans Parish School Board District 2. It is critical because our students deserve better. I'm honored to have the endorsement of U.S. Congressman Troy Carter, Louisiana State Senator Joseph Boyd, and Councilman Oliver Thomas. Early voting begins November the 22nd and Election Day December the 7th. Vote Eric Doc Jones, District 2, number 12 on the ballot. Our children, our responsibility. Paid for by the committee to elect Eric Doc Jones, number 12.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
WBOK is pleased to announce the reboot of Crosstown Conversations with host Gene Nathan. A heightened focus on cultural entertainment events and the creators who present them. The new time is now Saturday at noon. Tune into the stories of our exploding creative scene with Gene Nathan on Crosstown Conversation.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Boss Man, we got our boss man in the studio with Nyron. You know, when you work when you work with a big brain and a big heart, right? When you work with someone whose soul and brain are attached, and what the world is getting to see from Dr. White is that her soul and her brain are connected, right? And her love for her community and for all people are connected. So, man, I lied. Let's go to the lines right now. John invoked Larry's name. Isn't that crazy? I tell people,
Larry.
No mistake. Larry, line 2. Larry, you're on with Dr. White, no TV.
Good morning, Larry.
I was just sitting here drinking some coffee. I wasn't being involved. But what John said, it's like I understood what he said.
Right.
I think he misunderstood me.
Right.
Africa got 54 countries.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 of them haven't been colonized, Ethiopia and Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
So all these other countries has been colonized, but they have something a little different than we have. Most of them been colonized. Miscegenation, meaning mixing up the race,
right,
didn't affect them as much as the brothers and sisters from diaspora, meaning Brazil, Haiti, we mix. We know that. I think they got very few black people in America that's not mixed, that's descendants of slaves. They did a job on us. I know that. So when I see somebody in the diaspora, I see a lot of me because they've been mixed. Miscegenation. I understand that. But something that Peter Tosh said in one of his reggae songs, I don't care where you come from. If you're a black man, you're African. He have a song, and John should go listen to it. But I really called because I was interested in Dr. Wise. I heard her. She's so fiery that I keep telling her it comes from that Fisher Project. I know where it comes from. You remind me of Fannie Lou Hamer when she told the people in Mississippi, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you speak with kind of like an old soul, like Angela Davis, some of these revolutionary sisters. That, very few doctors come on your radio station talk like you. So I know where it's coming from, your soul, man. So you could call it spiritual, that you was anointed, but sometimes you go to places that most so-called academias or doctors won't even go.
They can't go there. Larry, love you, appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving. Lines are lit up, man. We appreciate you so much, good brother. Line number 3, Mr. James. Good morning, man.
Good morning, James.
Happy Thanksgiving, man. You're on with Dr.
Good
Wide
morning,
No
man. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy birthday to your mother. I'm thankful for you all. I'm thankful for my family. I have my mother with me still. My father is not with me.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for the light he spread into all our lives. Thankful for the education that y'all give me every day. Question. We going to talk about them amendments one day this week because I got to vote. And I don't know nothing about nothing.
We'll revisit them again.
And James, we actually did on one of the shows.
Week.
Like I read them all out and I told you what your yes vote would mean and what your no vote would mean. But you could also go to Black Source Media. Think 504 did a breakdown as well. Yeah. And parlouisiana.org has a breakdown telling you exactly what it says on the ballot and what your yes and no votes mean.
Yeah, but we will revisit them.
We will.
And James, thank you so much, man. Have a great holiday.
Thank y'all, man.
parlouisiana.org and Black Source Media, think504.com.
All right, thank y'all.
You're welcome.
All right, good brother. Line number 1, our last caller of the day. Josh, thank you so much for holding, Josh. God bless you. You're on with Dr. White now.
Hey, Josh.
I call you Dr. White, see? You Wyatt? I call you Dr. Wyatt. I ain't gonna do that. I'm with you, Dr. Wyatt. Listen, these bad folks who do us bad, we need to pass their names around like the Green Book.
Yes.
And inform all folks what these black folks did, particularly to our race, and stop our forward movement. We need to put those names out instead of just doing it nameless.
Yes.
We need to put names to them, expose them, and do like Joe Clark did on Lean On Me and kick them out.
Yes, indeed.
Kick them out. That's why I will never support Deion Sanders to this day. I won't do it. I won't.
Hey,
thank you, Josh.
So, Josh, what are you thankful for, man, before we close out the show?
Oh, man, I guess life, thankful, but I'm not a big Thanksgiving guy. The Pilgrims was terrorists.
Go ahead, Josh.
Eat you some good food, though.
Hey, Josh.
It was biological terrorists, too.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Josh, stop it, man.
Hey, man, you asked me.
I know.
Yeah, he opened that door and you walk right on in it.
Hey, that turkey was filled with poison.
Oh, Josh, you got me all red in the face and laughing, man. I did. I opened that door.
He walked in it.
And you walked in it.
He tripped walk right on in it.
Hey, Josh, well, you open the door to look. You and all the terrorists, man. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. You hear, bro?
I won't do it, Oliver. I'll be watching all Native American movies that day.
All right, Papa. Bless you, man. Oh, Dr. White.
Listen.
Oh man!
You asked me my opinion.
I asked you.
Yeah, and I mean that's what you did me when you asked me what do we do?
Nothing but terrorists.
Yeah,
we
got to exile them. That's what has to happen. Exile.
Look, so on the Monday, guys, right? So think about it, right? Man, call your friend. There isn't anywhere else in talk radio that you're gonna hear all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And that the Pilgrims were nothing but terrorists, but have a happy holiday.
Only on WBOK.
Only right here with the data and the facts to back up any argument.
Yes.
Period. And
full stop.
And the willingness to listen.
And the willingness to say it.
To hear. And then to honor our callers. And Mr. James, thank you for saying what you're thankful for. And Dr. White and I will never forget you calling us the day after the election.
And held that L up proudly, baby. He waved it like a banner.
And we ain't never going to forget that.
Not
but
at
that's
all.
the beauty of what
and we
do.
took it. We took it on the chin.
Did we take it?
We wasn't tripping. I stood on that L.
We didn't put him on the do not
sure
call list.
Still letting him come through. But listen, the New Orleans United Front is having their monthly meeting for December 16th. They're asking you to bring your wish list. You can tell us what you want for your city, what you envision for your city at the December 16th New Orleans United Front meeting at Cafe Istanbul. As always, it will start at 5 p.m. They serve some wonderful food, so bring your appetite and bring your ideas. December 16th, Cafe Istanbul, New Orleans United Front.
Happy birthday, Mama.
Happy birthday, Mama.
Nettie Ganna Thomas. Happy birthday.
This has been a wonderful show. We want to thank Chelsea Moore, Director of Specialties Practice for Thrive Kids. And we want to thank all of our WBOK listening audience. And y'all stay tuned for the Front Porch with Graylin and Kimba. I am Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My co-host is nobody other than Oliver O.T. Thomas and our super producer, Nyron Sanders, behind the glass, holding us all together. We're going to see y'all tomorrow.